And there's certain criticisms of this chapter that I agree with, certain ones that I can see people's points. Like the biggest one, like the thing that I think is just bad, like that I will just say is bad, was the stuff with Ymir. Like the
Yeah.
her having like Stockholm syndrome and everything. Like I think that could have been done better if it had been just a little bit more explained, maybe.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be something that the anime fixes. I think that, let's see. I mean, some of the stuff, like people were saying that they didn't like how Eren kind of like went and he wasn't like Chad anymore. He kind of was like more. He was more of a simp, I guess. Like where he was like crying about Mikasa and stuff. And
But
I'm like,
that's who he's been.
yeah, and
That's who
also
he is on the inside the whole time.
yeah, and people were like saying like I hate how he's like I don't want her to move on. It's like you realize that like love is a not a rational thing.
Yeah.
Like people like obviously he still made the right choice. He's like don't tell her this, Armin, but
Yeah.
like this is just how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most people who are in love probably feel that way at least a little bit. They're like, "Oh,
Oh yeah.
you know, I or like, you know, if you're dying, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, obviously like you're married with somebody for like 50 years, you might tell them like you should move on, you know, find someone in your last few years while I'm not here, but deep down you're probably thinking like, but I don't like that idea,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
obviously it's like I don't know, it's just weird. I mean, we don't like when we're alive, we don't like the idea of our significant other doing things with someone else. I mean, that's just
Like I that whole scene with him saying like, "Oh, I don't want her to move on." That just shows that Eren's still selfish. Like at the end of the day, he's been selfish this whole series. I want to do this. I want to kill all the Titans. I want this. I want that. That's been him the whole series, and him also being a crybaby goes along with that, right?
yeah.
And people just like, whoop, like
Yeah.
right over their head. And like Eren is a selfish character. Granted, at the end of the day, his whole grand scheme was a very unselfish thing.
Yeah.
But deep down, he is still selfish. That's why he had that like fit at Armin saying like, "Oh, I don't want her to move on."
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Like that just still goes to show
Yeah.
that he's still him. Eren is still Eren. He just had to do all that to liberate everyone.
Yeah, and I think that there is at least somewhat of a case to be made that he might have like some kind of mental issues too, because
Obviously.
I think the combination of founding Titan and attack Titan would fuck with you,
Oh yeah.
because like you just know everything at that point,
Mm-hmm.
and you also have completely opposing views essentially. Like you have like striving for freedom and not like doing the exact opposite of that.
Yeah.
Like it's just, yeah, I mean it's interesting. I think it's a way to interpret it, because obviously like there were times that he seemed pretty serious about that, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's, yeah, I mean a lot of it I think is more left up to interpretation than people would like, but at the same time I think seeing it in motion and spoken might be
Better.
easier for people to understand, because a lot of times manga just can't get that across, like,
Just literature in general, just especially in like a comic, it
yeah.
makes it just that much more difficult. But